What is up, everybody? Welcome to the West Virginia Dynasty Episode 1. Now in this video, I will be recapping both Week 1 and Week 2 because I didn't get any footage from either of those games. Anyway, today I will give you the brief and fairly uninteresting recaps of both Week 1 and Week 2, which is technically Week 2 and Week 3 because I had to buy Week 1. Anyway, let's get into Week 1 where I scheduled a home game against then number 21 ranked Boise State. I had Alabama next week, so I wanted to have a competitive game instead of one of those FCS East games NCAA used to automatically give you. In the first quarter of this game, nobody scored. I was still using a new team, so it took a little bit of getting used to, but I think I did a fairly good job on the defensive side. In the second quarter, both teams' offenses started going, and I scored 10 points while Boise State scored 7 points. I believe it was 7-7 with something like 30 seconds left in the half. Then I marched down the field and kicked a field goal right before the half ended. In the third quarter, I got one really deep throw that kind of put the game out of reach for the Broncos. It made it 17-7 deep into the third quarter, and they really had no chance of coming back, especially since they came out of the break extremely slow and uninspired. Then in the fourth quarter, I scored 2 gimme touchdowns with my second stringers and walked away with a 31-7 victory. These are the stats for both teams, and these are our players' stats. Curtis Parker, our starting quarterback, threw for 161 yards with 1 touchdown and an ugly 4 interceptions with a very mediocre 57% completion percentage. On the rushing side, Michael Luke ran for exactly 100 yards with 2 touchdowns, and Holt backed him up at 6 carries and 58 yards. Nobody really stood out on the receiving end, but Maxwell scored our lone touchdown through the air. We went from number 11 to number 9 after Week 2, heading into our first conference road game. Also, I forgot to mention that we are in the SEC as I put West Virginia into the East and Texas into the West. Moving into Week 2, I had an extremely tough game against Alabama, who was number 1 going into the game. In the first quarter, I got ball first, but eventually had to punt, and Alabama quickly made their way down to my 26-yard line in just a few plays. They then ran an intriguingly dumb option play in which I wish I had the footage because I recovered and ran it back all the way for a touchdown. Those were unfortunately my only points until the fourth quarter, but Alabama made sure to not only hold me on defense but embarrass my defense, building up a 14-7 lead going into the final quarter and then scoring again with only 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to play. I finally broke the offensive drought with just over a minute and a half left in the game, but after a failed onside kick, Alabama forced me to take all my timeouts and had a 4th down at my 32-yard line with 30 seconds left in the ballgame. Then stepped in the computer, and for some reason I can't fathom at all, they went for it on 4th down. Luckily, I stopped it and then led a quick scoring drive to tie the game at 21-21 with 9 seconds left in the fourth. With all the momentum on my side, I scored first in overtime and then intercepted an attempt at the end zone on just the second play of overtime to win the game. Curtis Parker had a much better game with 2 touchdowns to only 1 interception, and Michael Luke scored 1 touchdown on the ground. James caught 4 passes for 62 yards, but scored 2 touchdowns, both of which helped save the game and our epic comeback. On the defensive side, our defense took the ball away 4 times, which didn't really show or was made evident judging by the score before our comeback. Anyway, those were the 2 games I've already played, and here are the stats for the entire season from our players leading up into Week 4. Thanks so much for watching. Always remember to keep guide number 1, and I'll see you in episode 2 of the West Virginia Football NCAA Football 13 Dynasty.